Hi, I'm Nolan Whisenhunt with Keller Williams Realty, right here in Southlake, Texas. Uh, Wanted to introduce you to my weekly podcast. I'm going to do it from various locations, various times, different places over various different topics. And, a lot of this, we see so many podcasts, and a lot of it's about one specific person or one specific thing that's taking place in the market. Really about this podcast is what I want to bring into the table is, some expertise that I have from being a little diversified in my book of business, but also just kind of talk about markets within markets, expansion opportunities, and how I can bring value to your family. But also, I want to create a situation that I help families think outside the box a little bit about what their opportunities are. So, and a little bit about my book of business is, I do a lot of residential transactions where I help first-time home buyers, families that are looking to upsize or downsize based on their family's needs, people that are getting relocated for job opportunities or whatever it may be. And I even do second home acquisitions for somebody that wants to have that country life, that may want that second home out in the country where they can maybe do some hunting or some fishing or just enjoy being outside in nature. Hey, as a real estate professional, and when I'm speaking with families, other professionals, other businesses, there's about 10 different questions that I get just on a daily basis right now. Right now, everybody knows what the DFW market is. It's wild and crazy. It's like the wild, wild west out there. And things are changing on the fly from a day-to-day basis to people thinking that it's going to be one way for the next foreseeable quarter, 2 quarters, whatever it may be. And then the next thing they know, they wake up the next morning and things have changed. The first question that I get is, how's the real estate market? In my opinion, and this is based off of what I see every single day, the residential resale home market is wild and crazy, getting multiple offers and multiple bids that are quite frankly excessive. And, sellers are selling at an all-time high and they're walking away. And the true winners right now, in a lot of perceptions, is going to be the seller, not the listing agent, not the buyer's agent, not the brokerages, not even the buyer or the lender or the title company. It's the seller. The seller is the one that's making all the money right now. And for rightfully so, not only do we have historic lows, but we've shattered the state record for lowest inventory on history. So think about that for a second. Let that sink in. We've never had a point in time where our inventory in Texas has been as low as it is right now. So, but we also add in the dynamics of people moving in here because the Lone Star State is a wonderful place to call home. Love it. Everybody does. Most people that don't should. But it has created a problem with inventory. And so prices shooting up high, interest rates are always going to be a part of the question. But the reality is there's still opportunities within the market. I don't care what market you're in, where you're trying to buy, what you're trying to buy, there's always a market within a market. So there's always going to be some type of opportunity. It's just what opportunities are going to be there for you and what do you have that you have an interest in. If it's just straight residential resale or new home purchases, yeah, it's going to be wild and crazy. But if you've got a flair for, fix them up type properties, fix and flips, or where you reinvest back into the property, there's a new market right there for you that you can put your own personal touch. But the market is wild and crazy right now, but it doesn't mean that there's not opportunities for you and your family. We just got to talk about it. We got to experience what that looks like. And so right now, one of the other questions that kind of just very easily comes right off of that when I'm talking to people is, how does this market affect a seller? And so I wish I had a deck of cards in front of me, because the way I look at it is as kind of a cheesy analogy, but everybody's given a hand to play, like you're playing cards. Excuse me. But everybody's got a different hand. And so as a seller's perspective, if you're sitting on this side on the other side of the table from me, we're going to be looking at your hand that you're dealt. You've got to move for job relocations. They're going to pick you up and they're going to move you on the other side of the Metroplex. And that 3-hour traffic commute is just not plausible. But what we're going to look at is what the hand is that you're dealt right now. What is your home worth? What is your current market looking like? What is the top dollar value going to be like? And what can we anticipate with the known buyer pool that we have? Who are your most likely buyers? And what is your timeline? and what kind of grace period can we look at or anticipate for you to make a transition. And then then we also look at, your buying power, and what is your credit score? What is your ability going to allow you to do when you need to make that transition to go over to the next, on the other side of town, and what's available over there. So there's a lot of questions that have got to get answered, but it starts with that deck of cards that you're dealt, and that hand that you're dealt, and you got to look at it and make an evaluation and play the best hand that's in the best interest of your family and your family only. And then we got to take a look at it, and we got to make a decision. We got to lay out options of how are we going to play this hand. And that's where I come in, and I'll help you identify, because you don't know what to think about or what questions to ask until somebody may bring them up. And that's what I really want to do, is cover all the bases with you, so that way we're covering every thought, every question that may be possible. That way, when we go to list your home, we're working in plan A, B, and C, and we've got a strategic idea of how we're going to do this to make you successful. And that's the ultimate goal, is for you to be successful. But as a seller, we really, before we list a home, we really need to think about every step in the process and put in a game plan and a backup plan to make sure that you're going to be successful in your transaction. But there's always opportunities for you to be successful. And so, in this market, how does it affect a buyer? That's such a loaded question, because, and I get it asked every day. One of the markets that we're seeing is the buyers, is that we have 6 buyers for every house that's available, 10 buyers for every house that's available right now. I'm seeing a lot of things. First-time home buyers are struggling right now because the competition is high, the level is high. People that are buying down. So as an example, people that can afford to, in a normal market, to buy 500,000 and beyond, are now buying in the $350,000, $400,000 range, because it gives them enough cash flow to pay that overage, to get competitive within the market. And so the first-time home buyers are struggling a little bit, but there's still great opportunities with either new builds or pre-existing homes in other areas. But the buyers right now, what I'm seeing, my listings personally that I've sold for recently for families have, we're seeing no less than 10 offers, and every offer is, anywhere from 5 to 8 to 10% more than the list price. And it's all guaranteed money. They're waiving their appraisals. They're waiving different things because they know they have to get competitive, and they're writing the best offer in their situation. And in fact, I actually saw a good realtor friend of mine with another brokerage with Coldwell Banker down in Mansfield, where somebody almost got $200,000 over asking, which is ludicrous. They'll never make their money back. That was just, in my opinion, that was kind of a dumb financial decision to make, because they'll never make that $200 back. They just threw that away. But there's some craziness going on in the market. But with the right agent that understands the market and understands how these contracts are written, there are ways to write this contract that are going to be financially advantageous and just as attractive to a buyer, and not get excessive. But it takes having an agent that understands the market, and that there's markets within markets. And just because you're in Fort Worth doesn't mean that you've got to just throw caution to the wind and just start throwing money because you live in Fort Worth or Frisco or McKinney or Allen or Plano or anywhere. But there's markets within markets where certain areas yield certain prices. You can literally go across the street and yield a different valuation of what somebody's willing to pay, just based on the demographics of the homes and the schools and what the lots and the property offers. It's just, you got to be working with an agent. So obviously I would love to earn your business and sit down and talk with you about what that looks like and how that's so different, and break it down for you. But I also just want to encourage you that when you're looking at hiring an agent, and you're hiring to somebody to sell your home or help you buy your home or invest with you and help make smart financial decisions, I would encourage you to find somebody that really understands the contracts, really understands that there's markets within markets, and how to leverage that information to benefit you, and somebody who's thinking about your financial interests. Because money's always on the bus, but it should never be driving the bus. But what that means is simple. Let's focus on what's good for the family, and then everything else will follow. and there's a plan for that. Let's put that plan into place. So whenever we have that conversation, let's talk about those things. Um, right now, somebody's going to make a plan to sell in this market, they got to look at their family dynamics. We got to look at everything out on the table. We've got to look at what's going on with their financing. We got to look at what's going on with the job. And in this DFW market, quite honestly, we got to take traffic and construction into consideration, because we know that doesn't move at a lightning speed. So there are a lot of variables that are going to go into this when we look at how to make a plan, but everybody's got a plan. But we've got to be strategic in this market to make sure that we are working in the best interest of you. And we've got to take several things into account before we take that step into going to looking at homes or getting the home listed on the World Wide Web for the whole world to see. And we start showing the home. That plan has to be in place, because that is a recipe for disaster if you do not have those things in place right now. And another question I get from sellers, I get it from buyers, and I get it from landowners. I get it from commercial property owners. I get it from landlords that own residential homes. Are the prices going to continue to keep going up? And the answer is nobody knows. If somebody's telling you the truth, the answer is they don't know. People are going to have hypotheticals and opinions based on data, which is really good, because all of our information is working off of data, but that data is going to be limited. There's so many things that come into play with that data, and it could be changed on a week's notice or a day's notice or a month's notice. So, the best thing that we can forecast out is that what we know what 90 days, 180 days are going to be looking like. But what we also have to take into consideration is that we don't have that crystal ball. We don't know what a year is going to look like. But what we can do is talk about today's current market and up to about 90 days with confidence. And what we can also talk about is, with a certain level of confidence of even up to 6 months. But things like interest rates. A lot of people last year thought the interest rates would not exceed 4.1, 4.2 by the year end of 2022. But look where we're at right now. Interest rates are still amazing, absolutely amazing right now. 4%, 5% are still really good interest rates. But the younger generation still doesn't understand that they got to be a part of the starting process of historic national record lows and don't understand 4 or 5% is actually really good. But we got to be prepared. What we have to do as agents is we also have to manage our clients' expectations. And I feel like that's the best way to be honest with a client, is to be transparent straight from the get-go and say, hey, if you buyer fall in love with house A over here, I want to be transparent and let you know everything that I'm going to know about the property. And some of that involves that coming back to you and saying, hey, we just showed this property. You love it. It fits all your criteria. The price point's great. It's going to fit your budget. It's going to fit your family's needs, and you're going to be able to grow and, and develop as a family in this home. And it's going to be a great place to call home. However, I want to inform you that there's 10 offers. Hey, they've got 15 offers. Hey, the listing agent tells me they've got 5 offers, and the lowest offer is nothing less than 5% over asking. Uh-oh, got a problem here. We thought this price was going to sell for $350,000. Now we got an agent that could be telling us a lie. They could be BS and trying to get the sales price higher. It does. Agents do that all the time. It's part of the game to get more money for their sellers. Or they could be telling us the truth. What do? We got to think about paying over now. What is overage? It is 1 penny over the appraised value of that property. So if you go to a lender, you win the bid, you go to the point of getting an appraisal, and that appraisal comes back and it says, hey, this house is $350,000. Well, because that agent told us, hey, we got 5 bids, we got 8 bids, 10 bids, or we're not accepting anything less than 5% over because we already got offers for 5% or greater over. Well, we just put in an offer for $50,000 over now. fully guaranteed waiver, appraisal, the whole works. So now we've guaranteed that seller $400,000 on their house. What is overage? That is 1 penny. So if the appraisal comes in at 350, you're paying from $350,000 and 1 penny up to the contract sales price of $400,000. That goes above and beyond your down payment. That goes above and beyond your lender's fees and costs, and it goes above and beyond your title fees. But the craziest thing is right now, people are doing it all day, every day. And as an agent, I'm going to tell you that you're paying over the market value. And I'm going to show you comps. I'm going to show you the home evaluation so we can make decisions that if you decide to make that decision to go over, we're going to be smart about it. We're not going to be like that family down there in Mansfield that I just referenced that paid $200,000 because you just threw $200,000 away. I'd rather you throw it in the trash can or put it into a charitable fund or something like that, because at least something good's going to come of that 200. But if we're going to go over, we're going to talk about it and we're going to look about it, because we're going to look at the market and what we can tell from today's market, what we can anticipate potentially from appreciation. But overage is 1 penny over the appraised value that you're going to be responsible for, above and beyond any other additional costs in the process. You know, right now there is a tremendous amount of that's going on, and the ideas that I have for myself and how I run my business, you know, when we meet face to face or, you know, over the phone, you know, I get a lot of referrals. I get a lot of people that have seen a lot of marketing and advertisement. You know, the first thing is I like to do is I'm a little bit old school in my approach. I don't have a big dog and pony speech and spill of why you should use me or why you shouldn't use me or blah, blah, blah. You know, the first thing I want to do is I want you to get to know me as a person. And I want you to get to know who I am and how I think and my perception on business and how I tackle the market. But I also want to get to know you. I want to get to know you as a family, you as an individual, your core values, what it is that you're looking for, because all that information lets me know who it is that I'll be working with. And it also creates opportunities. There's been a lot of times that people have told me about what's truly valuable to them as a family. And they have this grand idea that this certain area in DFW is going to be the end all be all because it has a big, fancy, flashy house. But at the end of the day, their core values may be different than what that area offers, and they may not know about this other area. So when we get together, I want to get to know you before we even start talking to business. I want to know who you are, and I want you to know who I am, and I want you to put a face to the name, and I want to put everything out there on the table. And because at the end of the day, what matters is your success. And a lot of people don't believe that I mean that, but I think my past clients and current clients will tell you differently. There's a reason why people choose to work with me. It's because I care about your success. When you're successful, I'm successful. But at the same time, in this market, I also want to do the best job that I can by managing your expectations to there's markets within markets. There's always opportunities. There's always great things around every corner that can make you and your family highly successful. We just got to understand what that looks like. And when you get to know me and how I run my business, you're going to see that we're going to put a game plan in place. We're going to put an option A, B, C, and D, as many as we can create in front of you. And we're going to sit down and have those honest conversations of what makes the most sense for you and your family to be successful. Right now, just feel free. You can always call me. You can reach me at 817-733-8122, or you can email me at nolanwhisenhunt@kw.com, or you can visit me at my website at nolanwhisenhunt.com. Or my information is going to be plastered all over here. But guys, call me. Let's talk. Let's talk real estate. If anything, let's go grab lunch, have a cup of coffee, something, but let's talk about it. So guys, God bless you. Love you guys. Have a great week, and we'll see you next week. Take care.